Hey guys, so I'm going to walk you through how to do the EHR Go Introduction to Privacy and Security assignment. This one's pretty easy, and there isn't a lot you have to do actually in the chart. So you click the link to be taken to the EHR Go assignment. And the first thing that you do, remembering that when you are launched into the EHR Go website, you always do the steps in order. They're numbered 1, 2, 3 for a reason. So you first do all of the things on step 1. So you're going to download this activity, which I've already done. I have it here. We're going to go through that in just a second. And then you will launch the EHR and then download your work. So I'm going to let this launch over here. It's going to take us into this patient's chart, which I think is Daisha, maybe. Let's see, Daisha Estrada, I think, is the patient for this activity. Yes, Daisha Estrada. So we're going to work in Daisha's chart just a little bit. There isn't a lot we do for her in her chart. We don't work a whole lot in here, but we're going to check out a couple of things. So going back over to the activity that we have downloaded to work through. So you have your learning objectives here with some instructions up at the top. You're going to actually fill out the questions on this Word document, so you don't have to document anything in the chart for Daisha for this activity. You read through the instructions. It tells you to document your answers directly on this activity. So again, you don't have to document anything in the chart. You're going to do it all right here. And you're going to read through all of this stuff. It tells you what HIPAA is. It's the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Please note that HIPAA is HIPAA, not HIPPA. We get that a lot. I see that a lot. It's a common spelling error of the acronym for HIPAA, or the abbreviation for HIPAA, and it is not HIPPA as one might think. It's HIPAA. So it is Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. And so this section discusses how the HIPAA law protects patient privacy and their medical records, their protected health information, also how we are responsible for protecting that information. You read through that. It tells you what a covered entity is. You would be surprised some of the things that may be covered and how you are responsible for protecting health information. I know a lot of that is review for you because we went through that pretty extensively in Medic 225 last semester, but there is some good information here regarding the privacy rule, which is a section of HIPAA that we are also responsible for enforcing in our field, so in our daily work. Some penalties for HIPAA violations that you should definitely know about because you don't want to pay those, and or make your employer pay them on your behalf for your violations. And also the security rule, which comes into play with these EHRs. So we have administrative safeguards, physical safeguards. So anyway, you're going to read through all this stuff, okay? And then there's another section with role-based security and confidentiality, cybersecurity, mobile devices. This is a big one now because people are doing more and more things on their phones and also tablets. And so anything that's mobile has to be beefed up in security. In fact, right now I have our IT team working on iPads for us to be using this EHR Go program on, and it's taken them literally 7 weeks to be able to secure the iPads to keep them from being hacked or routed by potential outside influences, just because I told them that students could potentially put their own health data in, and also we're putting vital signs in here, and so it does need to be secure. So it's serious. Like you have to have things protected and keep health information protected. So here's some real life stories, and these are pretty interesting. There was a health system privacy breach. This is the story about a 5-hospital Riverside Health System in Southeast Virginia that had close to 1,000 of its patients were being notified of a privacy breach that continued for 4 years. 4 years, people. That's a long time. It went on from September 2009 to October 2013. And so basically all of these, there was a Riverside employee who had inappropriately accessed the Social Security numbers and electronic medical records of 919 patients. And that employee was a licensed practical nurse, so it was an LPN. And it took them 4 years to figure out that this LPN had been doing that, and it happened, they discovered it during a random audit. And so the nurse had been fired because of that HIPAA violation. Then another nurse was fired for a HIPAA violation because that person inadvertently revealed STD diagnosis to a guy's girlfriend. So you can read through that one here. That one's kind of interesting. So the nurse had basically learned of a guy's sexually transmitted disease, and she sent, it wasn't inadvertent, she did it on purpose. So the next one I think is the inadvertent one. But she sent 6 text messages to the patient's girlfriend, who happened to be her sister-in-law, about him having an STD, and busted him out there. So you can read through that. And then he went to court, sued her, and they decided on that. So then you get down to the questions, which is the meat of this assignment, the homework part. So Daisha Estrada, who is your patient in your EHR, is in the clinic today while you're escorting your patient. So Daisha's the EHR patient is the EHR file that we have up. While you're escorting your patient, who is an 85-year-old woman, out to the waiting room, you and the patient overhear the lab tech and another nurse talking about Daisha's lab results. So they're discussing her vaginal smear coming back positive for gonorrhea. You're escorting the elderly woman out to the waiting room. She asks if gonorrhea is contagious. Those 2 ladies in the hall were talking about having to report that woman's lab to the CDC. Wouldn't you only be contacting the CDC if it was serious? Can I get it from being here today? So your instruction is actually to follow this website. Whoops. So this will pop up in another window in just a second. And then you answer these questions from Medline Plus here. And so you go down here, you click on gonorrhea, and these are all the reportable diseases. I don't think you can click on gonorrhea. There's no more information here for gonorrhea. But these are the list of reportable diseases to the CDC. So anytime a person has any of these diseases, or has been exposed to any of these things, anthrax, botulism. Botulism is a foodborne illness. Chickenpox, chlamydia, cholera, another foodborne illness. Cryptosporosis, any of these things. Diphtheria, giardiasis, any of these things. Like Lyme disease, it's a tick-borne illness. Malaria is from mosquitoes. I mean, any of these things. All of these things have to be reported. So, it so happens that, unfortunately, she was talking about a sexually transmitted illness, but you'll use that article to answer this question, and then describe what the healthcare workers did wrong based on the information up above about the HIPAA. So you'll basically just answer these questions here and submit the work. So again, there isn't a lot that you need to do in her chart, but if you want to review her chart, you can go in and look and see that her current problem is that she has pelvic pain, and that she was tested for gonorrhea and chlamydia. There's her vaginal smear results. Signs of gonorrhea are found, culture to be done, treating pending culture. So they're going to treat the pending culture if she's gonorrhea positive. Here's the other thing. If you look at her care plan, she's at risk for situational low self-esteem related to shame and guilt from sexually transmitted infection diagnosis. So I want to look at something. over here with her. I want to see if she's married. So she's a dental hygienist. She has no emergency contact listed. And doesn't look like she's married or anything. So, she's divorced. Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, those nurses revealed protected health information about her that was overheard by another patient, and that's a HIPAA violation. Second of all, that lady that overheard it formed a judgment about Daisha and her protected health information based on what she heard from those nurses. So she doesn't know anything about her, she doesn't know her life situation, she doesn't know anything, but now she's judging her and doesn't even know anything about her. So that puts her, and now those nurses have a duty to report, or somebody, the clinic, somebody has a duty to report to Daisha that her health information was, her protected health information, that her HIPAA rights were violated. And so whether they do that or not, I don't know, but she has the right to know that that has happened. And unfortunately, you know, that puts the clinic at risk for them to be, you know, and have issues for HIPAA violations as well, at least the nurses anyway. So, like I said, you can go and click around and try to find out things in here, but there isn't anything that you need to document in her chart for this session. So when you're done looking around and, you know, trying to find out whatever you want to find out in the chart, you can close it. And there isn't really anything for you to download from this chart because you're doing all the work on the Word document. So when you're done filling out your answers on the Word document, you want to save it as a PDF and then upload it to Canvas, and that's about it for the Introduction to Privacy and Security assignment.